When George and I went to college together in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, we made the drunken decision one night to start playing Dungeons and Dragons, and we've never looked back.
That's right. I became the game master for Nick and a bunch of our other actor-comedian friends, telling crazy and hilarious stories together. So now, we're going to bring some new ones to you.
George builds the world and the framework for a wild story, and I, along with an ever-rotating cast, adventure through it, rolling dice to see if our actions gloriously succeed or fail miserably on a quest to tell the tallest tale possible.
We're going to be using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rules for the most part, with a few minor tweaks. For example, 20s are going to be automatic successes, and 1s are going to be automatic fails when we roll on 20-sided dice. Then I'll roll severity on a 100-sided die for failures. Why? Because I am God at the table.
These little sagas do follow a linear plot, so if you want to know fully what's going on, we recommend starting at the beginning and following along. Without further ado, welcome to Hero Club. We had taken that museum man Cortland's investigation job only to get a big cephalopodic surprise in the King Tut exhibit. Chuck and I hunted that sucker all through the city and finally brought it down in the Central Park boathouse. Then, as if things couldn't get any stranger, Cortland himself was found bumped off by some hatchet man, and we were being fingered for the crime and hauled downtown. Talk about bad business.
Hero Club presents It Never Sleeps, a Hank Blackstone mystery. Chapter 2, The Top Change. We open on Hank and Charlie in a dank cement room in the middle of NYPD's 10th precinct. Like any night in NYC, the office is bustling and phones are ringing off the hook, but that dim roar is muffled by the thick walls we find ourselves trapped within. Dark mold is sprouting in one corner of the room. The mustiness assaults your nose as you count the seconds. An enormous clock ticks loudly on the wall. Hank and Charlie, you have some time before the cops come to question you more about the death of Atticus, but you can tell from the attitude of the police who escorted you into this room, their attitude is not a favorable one at this point. As you guys shift uncomfortably in your chair, the handcuffs rattle against the metal table that you guys are attached to.
Charlie, let me take point on this one, okay? Because I don't want to draw any unnecessary attention to your face. If they get too good a look at you, it's the big house for both of us.
Whatever you say, Hank, I'll just agree.
10 or 15 more minutes tick by. Nobody comes in to give you any information about why you're being held or anything like that until finally a tall man walks in through the door, holding a clipboard, and then shuts it behind him. Immediately, the whole din of the office is shut out completely. He looks up from his clipboard at both of you, quickly, from one to the other, then looks down again, gives a big sigh, walks over to the seat across from you two, sits down, pulls out a pen.
Sir, I want to get off on the right foot here and tell you that this is all a big misunderstanding. Okay, so you see, that Atticus Carlson guy, he was looking to hire me and my buddy here for my services as a magician for a museum fundraiser. You know, which seemed like pennies from heaven, you see. Magic is really my bread and butter. I run Dante's Inferno, the magic shop up on 41st and 10th.
I agree.
He scribbles on his clipboard as you say the address.
All this murdered, dead stuff is really above my pay grade. I'm a humble performer, first and foremost. By the way, would you like to see a trick? I've fooled people the world over.
He stares blankly at you.
Got a deck of cards in my pocket, I promise you. It's a real treat.
It is.
Still no response.
Listen, mister, we simply talked to Mr. Cornell in our shop about the gig. Went and inspected the venue space and then headed home for a nightcap. That's all.
He reaches into his coat pocket, pulls out a couple of photos, and lays them out on the table in front of you. And in the first picture he lays down, you see Atticus's face with a bullet wound directly in the front of his head. So I take it you know this guy?
Yeah, that's Mr. Cornish right there. That's him. That's the man who was trying to hire me for the magic show.
Are you trying to say Cortland?
That's it. You know, we barely talked to him. I didn't get to know him very well. It's not like he was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think a friend would do that to a friend. You know, I got another picture I want to show you. Here, hold on. Take a look at this. The second photograph he lays down is sort of a photograph in motion. And after looking at the photograph for a little bit to sort of get through the blurriness of it all, you can tell that it's the theater from earlier. And Atticus's face is surprisingly in focus as he's climbing up onto the stage in pursuit of that disgusting squid monster with hands for tentacles. That squid monster is not in the picture, but right behind Atticus are your two frames.
Well, that's curious. What was a museum man doing on a Broadway stage?
Well, that's curious. What was a museum man doing on a Broadway stage?
Shut up.
Now, I'm not a detective yet, but you see that one right there? He points to the big one. That looks like you, boss.
Ah, come on, that's conjecture at best. That's just another big guy.
Conjecture.
That seems pretty sizist to me. That could be any larger man.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I will concede that, except that it also pairs up with some testimony I got from the theater that night, saying a man with burns on his face got up on stage and did a routine.
Well, that's ridiculous. Neither of us can sing or dance.
Aloha, oi. See, it's real bad.
Yeah, terrible.
Roll deception checks, both of you.
17.
7.
He looks at Charlie suspiciously, and then Hank's conviction sort of forces him to look over at Hank for a moment. He looks down at the clipboard. Well, I guess people were saying some pretty ridiculous things about it. They said, would you believe this? They said there was a giant squid in the theater. Can you believe that?
Giant squid.
Yes.
That's crazy. What is this, a Moby Dick?
I know. I mean, I heard that the musical that they're playing there takes place on a beach, and all these people saw a man in a squid costume and thought, like, oh, it's not part of the show, you know?
Hey, there are a lot of dummies out there.
Yeah, you know, theater's for idiots. Well, okay, I guess I can account for that. That's fine. I'll cross this guy out, but I got one other question for you. Why did I find your address on Atticus's desk?
I told you before, he was coming to our magic shop to procure my services as a magician.
He looks at the paper and he goes, oh, yeah, you did say that. Oh, man, why are my papers out of order? I gotta mix everything. Come on, Dick, you're ruining it. Just...
Now, please, sir, we've been sitting here for a while. Can you please just take these handcuffs off? They're really starting to hurt my wrists.
He thinks for a second. He lets out another big sigh. Yeah, okay, fine, got it. Here, just take them. Here. He unlocks the cuffs. They come undone. He goes, I'm sorry, fellas. I didn't mean to bug you with all this. I guess I was bored, and then I embarrassed the precinct by getting all my evidence mixed up and talking like an idiot, not using evidence that was solid. I knew I shouldn't use that evidence. Dick, you knew you shouldn't have used it.
Oh, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up.
I know, it's just I'm supposed to fulfill a conviction quota, and I haven't been reaching it, and I thought maybe this was going to be an easy one, and I came in looking all over it and tired so you guys would be intimidated, and it didn't work out at all.
Hey, you're doing the best you can.
Yeah, that was totally working. If we were guilty, that would have scared the pants off me.
He looks down at his sheet again. You guys are private eyes?
Oh, we dabble on the side, yeah.
Get out of town. Hey, you ever fired a gun before?
Once or twice. It's not my main skill.
He pulls out his gun from the holster kind of recklessly and he goes, I still haven't fired this thing. I can't tell you how bad I just want to squeeze it. Even in training, it's not the same though. I just want to get out there in the action and be a hero, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the couple times I've ever actually fired it off. It's only been in a firing range type situations, but it's a fun time.
Hey, fellas, I know I maybe wasted some of your time, but I was wondering if maybe I could ask you for a favor.
Hey, anything for the boys in blue.
Well, you being private eyes and all, you have a more of a, well, what do they call it? They call it a gray area where you maybe can do some stuff that maybe we shouldn't be doing?
Well, we wouldn't do anything like that. And then Hank winks and touches his nose in the direction of the cop.
Charlie gives a thumbs up.
Now look, this isn't, say, illegal necessarily, but one of the little concocted theories I had when I came in here was maybe that you guys were working for the mob. And maybe Atticus was part of a hit or something?
The mob? We don't get wrapped up in that wise guy business.
Well, look, there've been a lot of weird murders around town that really look like they're for show. You know what I mean? Sometimes when that happens, it means the mob's popping off and trying to send a message to the other families and all that. Like, for instance, oh man, you should have seen it. We stumbled upon a cab right next to the Museum of Natural History. Guy had no eyes or hands. Somebody just took his eyes in his hands. That's the most disgusting way to kill someone. I can only imagine it was an immense amount of suffering. The coroner did determine he was alive when his hands and his eyes were being removed. He probably felt every second of it. I can't imagine a death so terrible.
Oh man.
But anyway, so I figure if we go see if we can get some info from the mafia, we can find out who's been doing it, which family's responsible, and I think I got us a way to figure it out.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Well, here. So you ever heard of a covert listening device? Basically, the idea is that you're able to record a conversation with a recording device that you keep on your person. Covert style. You know what I mean?
Oh, like a spy.
Yeah, like one of those fancy spies.
Yeah, I'm sure we used those during the war to get information.
Sure did, and we got to use some of the extra equipment after the whole thing was over. So, the sergeant's been calling it a wire, but I don't think that'll catch on. It's way too big. And he just pulls up a suitcase and puts it on the table, opens up the latch, and you see a massive, intricate recording system that's making a lot of noise as it's moving all of the cassette tape around. It's a covert listening device. He pulls up a big, goofy-looking microphone. You just gotta have him talk into this.
Fascinating.
I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but it's not the most covert thing I've ever seen. It's making an awful lot of noise.
He thinks for a sec, looks at the machine.
Also, how are we going to get a mobster to talk into a microphone?
His eyes narrow for a second. Well, if we don't use the recording equipment, I'm gonna have to trust you two on your word as to the information we get. There's only one way to do that. I'm gonna have to come with you.
Wow, so exciting.
I could be a real hero, traveling with you guys, real private eyes.
That is exactly the solution we thought of.
Being a cop is so boring. Oh, and that conviction thing. I mean, like I'm just arresting people for no reason. It's ridiculous. I could actually do some good in the world as a private eye, a private investigator.
Are you sure you'd be giving up all that hard work you've done for the precinct?
I mean, you helped us out tremendously. I can only think of all the people that would be helped out by your strong detective work.
Nah, Dick McCoy's gonna be a vigilante.
That sounds great, but lesson 1 of detective work, sometimes you don't need to be in the field. Sometimes it might be better if you were by a desk helping by filling out paperwork for us or calling us at our office.
Roll a persuasion check.
22.
He stops and thinks for a minute. Wait, do you guys maybe need somebody to pass information to you guys from inside? I could be that guy. I could be your inside man.
You could be our inside man.
You've stumbled on another detective word. Inside man.
Dick McCoy, inside man.
Put it on a plaque. The title's yours.
This is amazing. Oh my God, I'm more excited than I was about the other plan. Oh, okay. What are we gonna do? Okay, so you guys go talk to the mobsters, and I'll stay here and wait for you to tell me about the mobsters.
Put your gun away and have a good time.
He looks at the gun, puts it back in the holster quickly, stands up out of his chair and says, okay, I'm gonna tell somebody to take you there just on the guise that it's like where you live and they're gonna drop you off, okay?
Sounds good, but Dick, what exactly do you need us to get from the mob?
We need you to get in with the mob to the point where they might trust you enough to tell you what's going on sort of the underworld of New York right now. Because that way we might be able to solve this murder and also maybe some of the other weird murders that have been happening around town. Like, the guy with no eyes. That's the only one that I saw, but I had a couple friends at some other precincts. Similar stuff. Some people losing eyes and hands like that other guy, but also other stuff. Like stuff that we don't put in the newspapers.
Well, anything we can do to stop that from happening anymore, we'll do it. And I think we'll do it a lot more effectively with you on the inside.
Hey, I'm Dick McCoy, your inside man.
Dick McCoy, our inside man. Come on, let's get started.
You guys walk out into the office. Dick brings you over to a fella, gives him instructions on where to drop you guys off. And as you're walking out the door, he pulls Hank aside, gets in his ear. Now remember, this is a high-stakes poker game between the heads of a lot of the families that are allied in the area. There might be a guy standing out front. You just gotta charm your way in. Just be great. You're gonna want to talk to Moretti. Moretti's the guy who's gonna, be the most willing to talk to you if you give him these. He hands you a bunch of folders. This is everything we got on the high-ranking members of the Irish mob. Addresses, places of business, everything. You give him these and put a little wink and a nod in it, think you get in there pretty quick.
So we're bargaining with all of the lives of the Irish mob to the Italian mob?
Yeah, it's bad guys killing bad guys.
All right.
You guys walk out to the car. There's another cop waiting in the driver's seat. He nods at you as you get in, ready to take you what he presumes to be take you home. Drives a little bit down the street, gets onto a main street, goes way uptown, even more uptown. Suddenly you're going over the bridge into Queens. The drive is about 30, 45 minutes. You get to a really dark side street. There's almost no noise. This is a really quiet part of New York. The door opens. The cop gives you another nod, and his little paddy wagon just sort of scuttles off into the distance. You hear a little kick of laughter rise up from a couple doors down. You see outside there is a refrigerator of a man standing outside smoking a cigarette, and he ashes it out onto the sidewalk and adjusts his hat and continues to look forward.
Hey, Hank, while we got a second alone, would you mind giving me a new face?
You got it, pal.
Give me the Joe Louis.
Hank takes out a little travel-sized makeup kit and paints Charlie's face as close to Joe Louis as possible. 21.
You get a really well-detailed, very clean-looking face on Charlie's rock face. Even in like a dimly lit area, this is going to be pretty convincing.
Charlie takes out his pocket mirror. I look just like the champ. Thanks, Hank.
Hey, you got it. Let's see about getting in that door. Hank walks over to the man.
This is a closed game, boys.
Oh, we're here to meet with Mr. Moretti. We have an appointment.
Roll a deception check.
19.
Mr. Moretti, he didn't say nothing about an appointment.
This guy looks back over his shoulder, thinks for a second.
Wait out here.
He walks inside. You hear deep in the distance,
Excuse me. Sorry for interrupting, but Mr. Moretti, there are two gentlemen outside that say they have an appointment with you.
you hear like a high-pitched mumbling from inside. You can't really make out any words. And then the big guy comes back out.
Mr. Moretti says he doesn't have any appointments this evening, and he says that you should leave, but he said it meaner than that.
What if I made a bet with you that if I shuffled these cards, and Hank pulls his beautiful deck of cards out of his pocket, and you took any card you wanted from the deck and put it in your pocket, I could read your mind and tell you what it was.
No, there's no way you could do that.
No fooling.
Okay, well, what do I get if I win?
If you win, we'll leave you alone for the rest of the night and I'll give you $10 whole. But if I win, you gotta let us in to talk to Mr. Moretti.
Oh, deal.
Hank quickly riffle shuffles the deck, does a bridge, fans out the deck for the man, and says, pick a card, whichever one you want.
A big shovel of a hand reaches forward and grabs a card, pulls it back really fast, pulls it up to his face, covers it with his hands.
Okay, you'll never guess.
Hank makes a big show of putting his left hand up to his temple and his right hand facing the large man. Okay, I'm getting something. I want to say it's a black card.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
20.
Yeah?
And it's a face card.
Roll another retroactive sleight of hand check.
22.
Yeah?
Your card is the Queen of Clubs.
And the last check?
18.
No way. No way. No way.
The man just starts walking down the sidewalk, screaming "no way" to himself
No way. Oh my God.
until he's gone.
Wow, I have never seen anybody react like that before. He is gone.
Yeah, the dummies always take it the hardest. Hank steps through the door and into the club.
There's a quiet jazz trio playing in the corner, but you notice that there are no other guests except for these 5 big, suited men sitting around a table smoking fat cigars, drinking many different kinds of liquor. Smoke billows in the dim light from the chandelier and from several stage lights that are placed in various places, lighting the trio up. As you enter through, one of them looks up, puts his hands out to the rest of the people around the table, and everybody stands up and pulls out guns and points them at the door. The man who stood up first speaks.
The man looks over to the suited man on his right. Nicky, I think Rudy's left the front door again. Why don't you go get your brother, and then we'll have a talk later.
Nicky lowers the gun. You see his hand is shaking a little bit now. Walks quickly up to you, makes a quick eye contact with Hank, and then starts running down the block.
Wow. Everything's so tense. Hello, boys. You must have some balls coming in here.
Hank quickly removes his hat and nudges for Charlie to do the same. Mr. Moretti, you and I share a common enemy. An enemy I will refer to now as the Irish mob. And I may or may not have some information for you in the form of documents from the 10th Police Precinct that would give you a leg up on your competition.
Roll a persuasion check.
13.
You have information on the Irish mob. Well then, sit down. Let's talk a while.
Well, thank you kindly, sir.
The 3 other Mafia members back up from the table. They leave a lot of empty chairs for Hank and Charlie to pick from, but they keep their guns at their sides, even though they're not raised at you anymore.
I must say I'm quite fond of your jazz trio, the double bass player. It's really good.
Thank you. It's good to know that I'm a good host. Now, take a seat.
Hank chooses the seat directly opposite Mr. Moretti and sits down confidently and pulls the chair out next to him for Charlie to sit down. Now, Mr. Moretti, I have a man on the inside at this 10th precinct, and, you know, we're no friend of the Irish mob. We've had our troubles with them over the years. We're small business owners, and they sure give us a hard time over in Hell's Kitchen.
Roll a deception check.
Nat 20.
You see Moretti's face change. You see a lot of anger rise up behind his eyes. His aura and energy is less about accusing you all of a sudden, and you can feel more of like a kinship as you both hate on the Irish mob together.
The O'Connors have been routinely screwing up my business. So I understand, friend. I understand what it's like to have those potato-eating bastards interfere with something that you've worked your entire goddamn life to set up.
I knew we'd be on the same page. I was just telling Charlie, you know, Mr. Moretti's a good man and he'll listen to us. And Hank pulls the files from out of his coat pocket. I have these files for you, no strings attached. I just wanted to help you out to help me out. Just consider it a gift from us.
Moretti flips open the file, thumbs through a few pages, smiles, nods, closes it, and hands it off to a man standing on his left.
I am a good man. I'm an honest man. And I like people who are being honest with me. What you've done, I appreciate it. I respect it. The problem is, I feel like you don't respect me. See, I got respect for you, Mr. Hank Blackstone. Yeah, I know who you are. 41st and 10th, right? Dante's Inferno. So you come in here, and I know you know I'm smart. Or at least I thought you did, 'cause I know you're smart. Why would you come in here to just give a gift to Alphonse Moretti? So, enough with the bullshit. And tell me, what do you want from me?
All right, I'll level with you, Mr. Moretti. Being a curator of a magic shop like Charlie and I are, we're more attuned to strange happenings around the city. You know, we see things in the dark that other people might ignore on purpose because they're too scary or too strange for people to understand. But I understand. And we're trying to clean up this city. Not from crime, but from those dark things that bump in the night. And you've got your finger on the pulse of this city. You've got your eyes everywhere, I know that. I'd just like your help in keeping this city normal. Hey, a chaotic city is bad for everyone. It's bad for your business, it's bad for mine.
Roll a persuasion check, just to see how that all goes.
15.
I agree. I hate chaos. I love control. I will never understand what makes you tick, Blackstone. See, I know every cop and every PI in this town, and I know what makes them tick, but you're an odd duck, aren't you?
I like to think so.
How about you, big guy? You ever think of doing work for the mob? We could use some muscle like him.
Well, sir, I have no problem with it. I'd be on it.
Now, what you've done for me and mine is something that I've been trying to get done with my inside men on the force for a long time. So whoever your source is, they must be very brave or very stupid.
We take a quick cut back to the precinct, and we see Dick McCoy under his desk scraping gum off the bottom of it. And how did that even get there? And then we cut back.
He's the bravest man I know.
All right, must be new. We'll talk about him later. But, as much as I appreciate what you've done, if you want my help, it might require a little extra handiwork.
What do you have in mind?
Well, lately, some certain unmentionables that I've had shipped in have been going missing from the docks. Now, we're pretty sure it's the Irish, but I don't like to leave things ambiguous. So, we need someone who they don't know to confirm what the hell is going on down at the docks and where my merchandise is going.
Well, if you know me as well as I think you do, you know I can definitely get that done for you.
The reason I hadn't come to you before was because you're a big damn question mark, Blackstone. But I'm starting to like this arrangement. You and this Charlie, is it? I'm gonna have you go with a few of my men. See, I'd go with you, but, you don't know my name, don't you?
Well, I've heard a couple names in the papers. Which one do you prefer?
Now come on, Blackstone. Be brave.
Well, if I were you, I wouldn't like the name Marblemouth. So let's go with Lazy Al.
Nobody has said Marblemouth in this bar in 4 years. And you know what? I love your moxie. I love it. Don't you love it? Well, you do something for Lazy Al, 'cause he don't do something for himself, and he'll scratch your back. Do we have a deal, Blackstone?
Hank puts out his hand for a handshake. You got yourself a deal, Lazy Al.
The magic man from Hell's Kitchen. Gladly shake your hand.
The handshake happens. Both parties lean back. A man steps out from behind Moretti as Moretti gets up out of his chair and walks to the back. Okay, guys, let's go. A tall, lanky man grabs both your shoulders, signaling you both to get up out of your chair and follow him out. You see he's got a weird scar on his cheek, as if somebody's kind of like taken a piece out of it with a knife or something like that. And he motions over to another slightly shorter guy who's wearing a very long trench coat. Come on, we're gonna take you down to the docks and we'll show you what's going on.
Yeah, you heard the boss. Let's go.
Hey, everybody. George here again. Thanks for listening to episode 2 of Hero Club's second season. We hope you're having a blast with it. We definitely did. We just want to take a second and shout out Mage Hand Press for being incredible. We rolled up these characters using 2 of their subclasses, specifically the Rogue Investigator for Hank Blackstone and the Barbarian Path of the Brawler for Big Charlie. They've been so much fun to play. If you want to play them in your own campaign, you can find some beautiful PDFs on their website, magehandpress.com. One more time, that's magehandpress.com. And while you're visiting the website, you should check out their store for some really amazing content like the Lovecraft Handbook that actually inspired so much of this campaign. And then after you're done downloading everything you can get your hands on over there, be sure to like us on Facebook at the Hero Club page and follow our Instagram at Hero Club Podcast, where we post about upcoming episodes, seasons. We showcase tons of amazing original artwork by Marty Abbey Schneider. It's just going to be a good time. All right, let's get back to the show. The 2 mafiosos lead you out of the building to a Chrysler that is parked just outside. They hop in, hit the ignition, and then all of you guys are off to the docks. The car ride is very quiet. You guys are in the back, the 2 mafiosos are in the front, and the ride is nothing if not awkward.
You boys hear that Yankee game the other night?
Yeah, pretty sorry game.
You know, they gotta take out that Wade guy, Jake Wade.
Oh, don't get him started. Don't get him started.
What'd you just say about Wade? Wait, he stops the car. What the fuck did you just say about Jake Wade?
All I'm saying is, if you listen to the games, I didn't mean any offense. I'm
Oh.
just saying he can't really keep his eye on the ball. You know,
Oh,
he
I'm
just-
sorry. Did you have a win percentage of .667? That's 2/3 of wins.
Well,
That's
I mean,
a pretty good score.
I feel like you can't really attribute that to him. It's kind of it's a team effort.
What are you talking? He's the most attentive one on the field. He's the only one looking
The
up. when it's
most
a fly
attentive
ball.
one on the field?
Well, I wish they would pay it. Well, everybody, it's a fly ball. Nobody takes it serious, but he's there.
Yeah.
He's focused. He knows you're gonna catch it. He's right field. Not a lot of balls come to him.
Hey, wait, when he's on the plate, he hits nothing but air. You know, that's why they call him Whistling Jake, right? It's not because he whistles all the time. It's because that's the
How dare
sound
you.
of when the ball goes through the air.
How dare you use that name?
Hey.
That's an insulting name. Whistling Jake. I mean, that's probably why he doesn't hit anything, because his feelings
Exactly,
are
that's
hurt.
exactly my point. He is a player that does not contribute to the team, and I think it's a mistake to have him in there. That's all I'm saying. They should bench him.
I'm a football man myself.
The two mafiosos turn around. The shorter one goes to the taller one in like a hushed voice, trying to calm him down.
We talked about
I know,
this.
I'm fine.
We talked about this. Like, we talked about this yesterday.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry.
I was there. Your sister was there. We all talked
Shut
about
up. Okay.
Charlie and Hank also have a side-to-side. He's like the one fan of Jake Wade in the whole city. This guy is really making me angry right now. I might flip my lid right in here.
Just calm down. We need to work with it. Remember the plan. We need to work with these guys.
I was just trying to make conversation, and he just says the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
I'm not apologizing for him. I'm not apologizing for Jake Wade.
But did you say something about football? What the fuck kind of New Yorker are you? This is America. We play baseball. Football's fucking nothing.
We hear the screaming fight sort of from a distance as the car travels along the road, pretty much alone through the night. No other traffic. Eventually, we finally pull into the dock. The door pops open.
All I'm saying is you should give it a chance because it's a fun sport and it requires a lot of athleticism, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. And we can just end it right there. Let's agree to disagree.
Everybody takes a big breath. The two mafiosos pull out their guns. Okay, you bozos. Get behind us. Get your pieces out and stay quiet.
Hank pulls his gun out of its shoulder holster, double checks that it's fully loaded, and gets ready to move.
You guys head off towards a security booth just a few hundred feet away. The closer you get, the street lights are starting to flicker a little bit, and you notice that everything around you is kind of in disrepair. The chains around the fence appear rusted. The gate has barbed wire above it that seems to have been torn down in various places and not replaced. And as you get to the security booth, you see a man just sort of slumped in his chair as if he's asleep. Go check that out.
Don't you know this guy? It's your dog.
We don't know this guy. He's employed by the state. We don't talk to him. We just, we give whoever works their money. Just go check it out. Go talk to him.
Yeah. Come on, quarterback. Let's see what you got.
Charlie turns to Hank and says quietly, "These guys are insufferable."
Fine. I'll go check it out. Hank saunters over and raps his knuckles on the door of the guard booth.
The guard doesn't move.
Hello? Hello, in there. We need your help out here? He keeps knocking.
Still no response from the guard.
Charlie approaches the guard booth and raps his bigger knuckles on the window.
Still nothing.
Hank tries the doorknob,
It's open.
goes in and shakes the man. Hey, pal, wake up. I need your help out here.
As you shake him and he turns over, you see his eyes are missing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I figured.
You figured? Why'd you let me touch him if you figured? It's a dead body with no eyes.
Well, I needed to be sure, and better you touching him than me.
Is he okay in there? What's going on?
Does he look fucking okay? He's got no eyes.
Oh my god! Both mafiosos immediately lose their lunch all over the pavement. Oh my god!
Christ.
Oh my god!
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Oh, those goddamn Irish!
Pull yourself together. For Christ's sake, I mean, we're doing a job here.
It's just a man with his eyeballs missing. Come on, calm down.
Where are his hands?
Oh, where are his hands?
Obviously, they've been taken.
Get this through your thick skulls. Eyes taken. Hands. Taken. Can we move on?
Okay. Let's just go in there.
Hank pats the guard down for keys,
Finds them.
pulls him out, and opens the gate.
Gate swings open. There's a long, loud creak. As the gate shudders, as it swings all the way open, there's a slight skittering in the distance. Perhaps it's just wind, and then there's nothing. And you hear just that dim air conditioner roar of the city behind you.
Hank cocks his gun and whispers to Charlie, "Hey, stay on your toes. We know what took those eyes."
Charlie nods and follows Hank.
You guys move off in between a bunch of these massive shipping containers. Every time you go down a hallway, you hear weird echoes. The metal is reverberating around you with the sounds of the city or the sounds of something that's moving around you, but mostly there's no movement. Can both of you roll an investigation check for me?
27.
13.
Charlie, as you walk forward, notices that one of the shipping containers is busted open. You wander over to the nearest container and you notice that down the row there are several more containers that have also been busted into, and the doors are also loose and open. On the ground, Hank notices a little glint in the moonlight, and as you reach down to see what it is, you notice that it's one of the exact same coin medallions that were in the Museum of Natural History in that exhibit. Looks like somebody's been pushing these artifacts to not only museums and academic societies, but also for collectors. And the mob might have accidentally gotten its toes into something it's a little in over its head in. Hank, as you look into the shipping container, one of the mafiosos flashes a flashlight into it, and you see a man stuck to the ceiling in just tons and tons of slime, almost like he's in a cocoon attached to the ceiling, with no eyes, no hands, and no legs.
Well, that's a first. Charlie, come over here.
Oh, hey. What's buzzing, cousin?
Lots of flies are buzzing around the body.
That's what's buzzing.
Hey, wait, move, let me see. Oh my god!
Don't throw up.
Oh my god!
Do not throw up.
He tries to stop throwing up, puts his hands over his mouth, and puke just sprays from between his fingers.
Can we just ditch these guys? I hate these guys.
Part of the deal with Moretti is we had to work with him. That's part of it.
Why did he give us these guys?
Hank, your exasperated conversation takes your eyes to behind Charlie, and you see that there are handprints and footprints smeared all over the dirt of one of the shipping containers. And as you follow the prints upward along the wall, you see a silhouette of a pulsating mass just sitting on top, low to the ground of the ceiling of the shipping container.
How far is it from Hank?
It's across the way on top of the shipping containers, about 20 feet up.
Hank puts his hands up as if to say, "Hey, shut the hell up for a second." Puts his finger to his mouth and points up at the pulsating mass.
Charlie is going to be fine, but the two mafiosos are going to make quick checks to see if they don't lose their minds. So, Mafioso 1 rolls a nat 20.
7.
What is that?
That's not the Irish!
Shut up, shut up, shut up.
You hear that familiar click and that growl, and then you see it skitter out of sight.
Okay, listen to me, and listen close. We've dealt with these things before. They're hard to kill and even harder to see, so keep your eyes peeled.
And try your best not to throw up on it.
Mafioso number 2 throws up.
Oh my god. Oh my god, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I just said this, and then he did it. Oh my god.
Charlie's mumbling to himself as everybody's fanning out with their guns at the ready. Everybody else is absolutely silent, but Charlie has to get this out and just vent a little bit.
Jake weighed up the bed. Jesus.
I'm gonna roll a perception check to see if Hank can see the path it took through the crates.
Okay.
18.
On top of the shipping containers, you can hear the metal reverberating. Each time its tentacle hands make a footfall or a handfall on the metal.
Hank takes point in the direction of the sound.
As you move slowly and carefully through, I need all of you to make a stealth check.
16.
9.
6.
11. You guys are trying to move as quietly as possible, but the gravel beneath your feet, your worrying is giving you away. And then, in the darkness, the metal stops reverberating. The wind just sort of gusts through the sheds a little bit. And then you hear a high-pitched screech just above you to the right. Everybody make a Constitution save.
15.
15.
Nat 20.
Everybody immediately puts their hands to their ears, looks up. Above you, you see the exact same monster that you guys chased through New York before, but this one is bigger by a lot. Has numerous hands and arms sticking out of the squid body, but has the addition of cracked and gnarled legs, adding a longer, more spindly, skittery look to this multi-eyed squid.
Oh, this one's got gams.
Then you look up to your left, and you see another one. Just as big, just as disgusting. The tall, lanky mafioso has to make a charisma save to see if he can maintain his sanity after seeing this creature. Which he does. He immediately pulls up his gun and fires 2 shots at the one up and to the right of you. The bullet tears through the squid center mass, and it screeches and skitters away.
The second mafioso rolls a nat 20 on his charisma save. Not afraid, just angry, pulls up his Tommy gun and rat-tat-tats 2 shots right into the beast.
As he pulls the gun up, the gun jams, the drum falls out onto the ground, and he's left standing there dumbfounded.
Whoops!
Hank, remembering their camouflage ability, whips a playing card at each of the beasts, hoping to tag them so they can't hide. 18 on the first one,
That's a hit.
11 on the second one.
That's a miss. Roll your damage.
15.
The card whips through the air and buries itself in one of its main eyes. The creature screeches, actually falls off the top, and lands on the ground. The squid monster on the left on the top, however, seems to be preparing to screech again by inflating its whole body. Charlie, what are you doing?
Charlie rages. Time to flip my work! Charlie dives at the creature on the ground, attempting to grapple it and pin it in place.
Roll a strength check.
21.
That is a success, but just barely. You can tell that this thing's a lot stronger than the last one you guys fought.
Oh, this one's feisty. Charlie punches the creature twice in the head. The first hit is 23. The second hit is 21.
Both are hits. Roll your damage for both.
First hit is 18. Second hit is 9.
The creature gets slammed with these massive stone fists. You can see you're doing considerable damage with each punch. However, the squid, still sort of on the roof of the shipping containers, lets out a massive screech. Everybody needs to make constitution saves again.
14.
13.
16.
16. The mafiosos again get their ears up in time, but both Hank and Charlie, busy with their tasks, get their hands up a little bit too late. You both take 9 damage. Charlie, the squid you're holding, tries to wriggle itself loose. Roll a strength check.
21.
Yeah, you hold it no problem. You've got this thing pretty firmly.
Oh, you ain't going nowhere.
The first tall, lanky mafioso takes another 2 shots at the squid monster up in the top left of you guys. One goes very wide, but the other one pierces it directly center mass again. This guy is quite the sniper with this little pistol. He hits for 19 damage. The creature freaks out, falls, hits the ground, right behind you guys. Look at me, that's 2 for 4! Almost as good as Jake Wade!
Hey, give yourself some credit. Call yourself Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, literally anyone else. Damn stupid ass.
The second mafioso picks up his gun and begins to unjam and reload. And he's just going to move a little bit closer to his friend.
Oh man, Tony, this is the most wild encounter we've ever had.
You're right, Soapy Eyes Jim. These ain't nothing like the Irish.
Your name is Soapy Eyes Jim?
Hank runs over to Charlie and the monster, points his gun down, and fires off a shot into it.
Roll an attack with advantage.
22.
Big hit, roll damage.
24 damage.
The bullet tears right through. You guys are really getting the hang of hitting these things now. You're starting to kind of figure out the way they move and try to avoid stuff.
Hank takes a bonus action to hide behind a crate.
Okay, roll a stealth check for me.
28.
Yeah, these things do not track you at all. You can tell that you are hidden from them.
Charlie does another 1-2 punch against the creature's head.
Roll 2 attacks.
One is a 27. The other is a 15.
The first is a hit, the second is not. Roll your first damage.
13.
As you punch this thing directly in the head, you see all of the eyes that have been stolen from various people swirl in their sockets frantically, trying to search for a way out.
Charlie punches a third time. 28.
That's a hit. Roll your damage.
17.
Describe the kill.
Charlie winds up, says, "Joe Louis with a left hook," and plunges his fist into the creature's face. The eyes go flying everywhere as he makes contact with the ground.
The second squid in the back wriggles its way to its feet, question mark. You're not really sure what the right side of this thing is. And then it gives a screech, but not a screech like you've heard in the past, sort of like a coded rhythmic screech. And you hear two echoing distant screeches.
Are they communicating? Like whales.
Yeah, Charlie, he's calling in the cavalry.
You hear frantic skittering, metal clanging atop the shipping containers moving towards you. Oh man, what's that? He's calling more of them? The second squid lunges at the two mafiosos. The creature wraps its arms and legs around Soapy Eye Jim's leg and pulls him to the ground. Oh my god, it's gonna eat me! It's gonna eat me! He takes 10 damage, and the creature grapples him tight. Tony, get my hand! Grab my hand! He tries to make a strength check to break free, completely unable to get free.
Tony, in complete surprise and shock, fires 2 shots at the beast, screaming the entire time.
The Tommy gun rattles off.
18. 6.
One bullet tears through the squid, the other bullet goes right through Soapy Eye Jim's left thigh. Oh my god! Oh my god, why'd you shoot me?
I'm shooting him.
Why did Mr. Moretti literally send Abbott and Costello with us? From cover, Hank fires his revolver at the monster holding Soapy-Eyed Jim. 14.
That's a miss.
Hank ducks back into cover and hides.
Charlie leaps through the air and throws a wild haymaker at the creature holding Soapy-Eyed Jim. Nat 20.
Nat 20, this was a -5 to attack and for a +10 damage, so I'm gonna say it's +20 damage to whatever you roll and double dice.
32 damage.
This thing shudders with the impact. The whole squid, its color changes from the point where the fist impacts, and then it tries to camouflage with everything around it, and you just see a rainbow spiral of colors shoot through this thing's legs and arms, and the eyes go everywhere in every direction.
Yay! Charlie throws a hammer fist down at its skull. 26.
That is a hit.
18 damage.
As this thing pops back up after the hammer fist, it backs itself up a couple feet, reeling from the punch, and you can see this thing's head is like caved in. The brain damage this thing's experiencing must be catastrophic.
Hey, come back here. I want to repaint the asphalt. Charlie takes an opportunity attack to grapple the squid.
Roll strength opposed check.
12.
It slips out of your grasp and starts to skitter away, sort of limping. It's not moving as fast as you've seen these things move. Oh my god, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You are not welcome.
The footfalls on top of the shipping containers coming at you guys are getting much louder. You feel like whatever is coming is going to be here real soon. Oh my god, what do we do? What do we do? Tony, what do we do?
Hide, you morons!
Hide?
Hide.
Okay, let's go. They're both going to make stealth checks right now. 11.
3.
Roll stealth check, Charlie.
16.
Soapy-Eyed Jim and Charlie both get into shipping containers, but Tony takes a little bit too long to decide which shipping container he's gonna jump into. Hank tries to get outside, but right as you're about to open the door, you see like 8 disgusting creatures start pulling themselves over the walls of the shipping container.
Hank stays hidden and watches in terror.
Tony's alone in the middle of these shipping containers. The creatures are slowly, predatorily descending, getting closer to the ground. The feet, you can see the bones breaking as they're shifting along the squid's body and slamming down into the dirt as they finally get to the floor. The disgusting noises they make reverberate off of the walls.
Tony grabs his Tommy gun, points it right in front of him, whimpers out,
I never got a nickname. Soapy Eyes, give me a nickname!
Tony never hears this, but Soapy-Eyed Jim whispers, Tony the hero.
Tony starts firing wildly.
A steady stream of bullets and Tony screaming ring out for about 5 seconds. Then you hear the gun clatter to the ground, and it's just Tony screaming in horror. The creatures growling and fighting at each other to get at the body. Eventually, Tony goes quiet. There's some tearing sounds, a couple of popping sounds, and then you hear metal as all the creatures climb back up over the walls, and there's quiet. You all hang out in the shipping containers for like 10-15 minutes, waiting for it to go silent, making sure the coast is clear.
Hank peeks out and investigates to make sure that the coast is absolutely clear.
Roll a perception check for me.
20.
Even those little skittery noises you heard when you first got to the docks, you don't hear those anymore. It looks like one of these creatures probably moved out. On the ground in front of you is Tony's body. Hands sloppily removed, legs missing, and the entire head is gone. Until you look just over to the left and you see multiple pieces of head in various places. It looks like the head was removed and fought over viciously, probably for the eyes, which are also missing.
Hank calls out to Soapy-Eyed Jim. Soapy-Eyed Jim?
What? Are they gone? Is Tony okay?
You might not want to look.
Oh, God. Is it bad? Is he dead?
Yeah, hold tight. And Hank walks over to the body, kind of collects it in one place, takes off Tony the hero's jacket, and places it over so as to cover it up.
The long trench coat that Tony was wearing effectively covers all the pieces of body that remain.
All right, coast is clear.
I think you should have called him Tommy Gun Tony. Just it makes more sense because he had a Tommy gun and his name was Tony. Wasn't really much of a hero. I'm just saying.
Oh, come on, Chuck, just give him this one.
Soapy-Eyed Jim walks over to the body, takes out his revolver, and unloads all the bullets over Tony's corpse,
I'll never shoot one of these again if it means I lose any more friends.
and throws the gun into the water.
That's what you took away from this? No guns?
Yeah, if anything, we should get 1,000 more guns in here to deal with those bastards.
Thousands of more guns.
He reaches down, grabs keys from his pockets. Soapy-Eyed Jim turns and passes you guys, and he goes,
Come on, let's get in the car and go. We gotta tell the boss about this.
as you guys move forward, you see, waiting for you guys, the car is idling. But as you get closer and you get towards the gate, Soapy-Eyed Jim sort of stops you both and goes,
What is that? That's not the Chrysler was a brown car. That's that's black, right? I mean, it's dark out, but I can't tell. I don't think that's the car.
Are you sure?
Yeah, nobody knows we're here. Maybe, you know what? Maybe the boss sent some people back up. We were supposed to be in touch probably like 30 minutes ago.
I don't know, Soapy-Eyed Jim.
wait, hold on. He waves his hand in the air and the car flashes its lights.
Okay. Come on, let's go.
I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this.
What? What's wrong?
Lazy Al specifically sent us. I don't think he'd send other people.
The car honks in the distance.
No, look, it's fine. Come on.
He waves the car towards you guys. The engine revs a little bit in the car, and it slowly starts to drive towards you. Can both of you make insight checks for me, please?
Hank botched.
Hank, you don't notice anything weird with the car.
13.
You notice that it's a Mercedes.
It's a Mercedes. Is that a mafia car?
Hank readies himself, feeling tense and uneasy about the car.
A Mercedes? Well, we don't have any Mercedes.
As the car gets up to you guys, the window rolls down. Everybody make a perception check.
13.
12.
Both of you notice the gun barrels stick out as the window goes down. Soapy-Eyed Jim appears to be looking a little closer. He can't see inside.
Hey, Jim, look out!
Both of you make dexterity saves right now.
21.
15.
Hank, what's your action?
Hank dives out of the way and hits the deck.
Charlie attempts to pull Soapy-Eyed Jim out of the way and get both of us to safety.
Make a strength check.
10.
Hank dives out of the way before the gun goes off. Charlie, you react in time, but pulling Soapy-Eyed Jim is a little tougher than you anticipated, and you don't quite get to cover in time. You hear a voice from inside the car yell,
Season!
The gun rattles off. Hank gets behind cover before it goes off, so he takes no damage. Charlie and Soapy-Eyed Jim, however, a hail of bullets heads towards you. You manage to avoid probably the bulk of them, but a lot of them pierce your body. You can feel lots of bits of rock chip off. Soapy-Eyed Jim is hit several times. Charlie, you take 29 damage, and Soapy-Eyed Jim takes 35. Bullets rip through Soapy-Eyed Jim's body, and when you finally get him to cover, you see him bleeding out, but he is still conscious. No shots were instantly fatal. The gunfire continues to rattle out. You hear ricocheting bullets everywhere. Both of you keep your heads down. Soapy-Eyed Jim is choking on his own blood but is remaining still. Eventually, you hear the clip run out. You hear the metal drum get thrown out of the car. The car begins to speed away.
Hank stands up and attempts to shoot out the tires of the car.
Make an attack roll.
25.
One of the tires goes out. Roll another attack.
Botch.
One of the tires explodes on impact, but as you go to fire your second shot, you realize you're out of ammo, and you're unable to load it in time before the car disappears around the corner. Sparks flying from the broken tire.
Son of a bitch. Chuck, are you okay?
Yeah, I took off a lot of rock, but I'm okay. Jim doesn't look too good.
Hank rushes over and attempts to stabilize Soapy-Eyed Jim.
Roll a medicine check for me.
21.
That's a success. How do you stabilize him?
Hank pulls a long handkerchief out of his pocket that he uses for tricks, wads it up, and uses it to stop the bleeding on Soapy-Eyed Jim's chest.
You're there for about 10 minutes. Eventually, you get Soapy-Eyed Jim to the place where he is not actively losing blood. He is unconscious, but he's alive. Hank, retroactively roll a perception check for me.
21.
You remember the plates.
Chuck, let's get Soapy-Eyed Jim back to Lazy Al. God damn mobsters with their nicknames. And let's go back to the 10th precinct and talk to Dick McCoy about these plates. I got him right before it sped out.
You guys eventually do find the brown Chrysler with its tires slashed, so the three of you, with Soapy-Eyed Jim sort of suspended between the two of you, begin to head off towards the nearest subway.
Oh, I didn't think it was possible, but our night just got a whole lot longer.
Watch your step when the path is slick. The shadows here can play a dirty trick, and moonlight's such a fickle guide. So watch your step when you step outside.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams and George Primavera, with associate producers Dylan McCollum and Marty Abbey Schneider. Voice acting by Nick Williams, George Primavera, Jack Quaid, Marty Abbey Schneider, and Dylan McCollum. Theme song written and performed by Matthew McCollum. Special thanks to musicians Alan Gray, Kevin McLeod, and Chill Carrier, and to Marty Abbey Schneider for his incredible artwork. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
When you step outside, the roads are narrow, the river's wide. Your only friends have surely died. So watch your step, it's critical you don't botch your step. Oh, watch your step when you step outside.
On the ground in front of you is the horror show of horror shows, Body-Wise.
Don't say that.
Body-Wise.
Body-wise, it's the horror shows of horror shows. In regards to bodies, it's the most horror show of all.
It's the horror show of horror shows, Body-Wise.
Make this
Not psychologically, just Body-Wise. All right, sorry.